welcome to another episode of Unchained with me, Paul Gomez, and my missing guest, hardest working kid in comics, is out working somewhere. So we're going to have to pretend like he's John Cena and we can't see him. But we have a great show and a great guest today. I got a few things that I want to talk about, but before I do bring in my guest, I have to talk about my sponsorship, which is Geek Out. Two convenient locations in Burleson and Mansfield, Texas. Geek Out is a great place to check out if you're in the DFW area. They have some of the biggest stores that you can imagine. It is an experience in itself. So even if you're going to a different local LCS, which I hope you're going to at least some place to get great comics, check out Geek Out at least once because it is an experience. They have about 20 tables at each location. They have just about hundreds and hundreds of board games, role-playing games, and of course comics and art that you will not find anywhere else. Geek Out in Burleson and Mansfield. Now, I don't really have too many topics to go on, but I want to bring out my special guest, and that is Rob Multari. Rob, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Man, so you got another campaign.
Another campaign, number 13.
Going along, man. I wish I was at 13. I think I'm still at like 5 or something somewhere.
It's definitely a lot of time put in, for sure. I mean, it's
yeah, man. I believe it. I mean, I hear, I talk to creators, and some creators are like, you barely get that first one out, and a lot of people fall off, and here you're at 13.
Yeah, well, you know what? I could have dropped off on number 1. My very first one failed, but luckily I'm stubborn. Well, I don't know if that's lucky. Maybe it's unlucky.
I definitely want to talk a little bit about that. I mean, because I'm going through a whole bunch right now. But I mean, it's a great thing that you stuck with it, though. Before we do, let's just shout out what the campaign is at the moment.
All right,
what's
sounds
the
good.
Campaign?
Yeah, so my current campaign is for Snowpaw issues 1 through 3. Basically, it's to fund issue 3 to get printed, and all the rewards that go with everything, the bonus rewards. But you can, as new readers, you can also come in and get all 3 issues. And if you want to even go further than that, you can also catch up on Nightwolf as well, which we have 1 through 8 is now available. There's also the trade paperback that collects issues 1 through 4. So yeah, there's plenty of ways for new and old readers alike to join the Wolfpack.
That's awesome. That is great. And I'm a big fan of the catch-up tiers and stuff like that because people do miss out, and a lot of people that I talk to seem to say, I don't know where to start. And whenever you have a catch-up tier that shows them, hey, you can get it all right here.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all about new readers coming in and enjoying, as well as the current fans picking up the latest issue. It's both, very important, for comics to continue to grow, and for, creators to be able to continue to write and draw and do, create these books.
Yeah, and like I said, I did want to talk about the starting and stopping kind of thing, or roadblocks, if you will, because right now I'm kind of at that roadblock myself. I'm in the middle of starting my next book. I'm getting 4 pages in. I got artwork coming in, and it's hard, man. It's hard. I mean, you had these other campaigns that even though they were successful and you're out there selling them, it's like, how do you keep up the motivation to keep going?
Yeah, again, I think a big part of it's being stubborn.
Yeah.
I also am very passionate about telling my story. I've been wanting to do this since I was in my early teens, so I've been wanting to get my stuff out there. This is my side gig right now. I still have a full-time job, but eventually I would love to be able to flip-flop that, make this my full-time thing. But, I think it's just stubborn tenacity, the drive. There's time, believe me, don't get me wrong. There's times where it gets me down, and I'm in that bad headspace. But then I just gotta grab myself by the bootstraps and pick myself up and just keep going.
Yeah.
Especially when you get new art coming in, it's
Mm.
almost like rejuvenation. Like you're like, oh my god,
It
that's
is.
amazing. You know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah.
feel of or even when the books ship from the printer and they're in your hands. That's a feeling that never goes away.
So I had a friend recently, I think this past week or the week before, was kind of like throwing up their hands and saying, "I give up," and I'm like, man, I've been there. I've been there just about every month or so. So I understand how that is. And I'm like, I don't understand how everybody else copes, because I only know my perspective. It's like I guess his biggest question was, how does he know if he's got a good project, and how do you know if you should keep going? I mean, you obviously had success, you know, recently and throughout the majority of things.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, what is it besides the stubbornness? What is it that keeps you going?
Well, so kind of going back to that first failed campaign.
Yeah.
So one, I kind of knew I had something because I was naive and I set my goal to 20,000 because I was trying to. So
Right.
I had 5 pages. I had cover art. I have character designs and my Kickstarter page. Right. So that's the point where I was at on my first campaign, and I was trying to fund the first 3 issues in
Right.
one campaign because back then I was still under the assumption, oh, I got to do like the big 2 and come out monthly. Right. So I
Right.
thought, okay, well, if I can kickstart the first 3 pages or issues, I could then get on a monthly schedule, get into Diamond and all that stuff. So that was my original plan. Again, being very naive, this was back in 2016, and just kind of going out and thinking that, hey, yeah, this will be fine. So I didn't manage to get 25 or 20,000, but I did raise over 5,000, and for a single issue, that's pretty good
Yeah.
starting out, right?
That's great. Yeah.
So if I would have done that for just issue 1 instead of $5,000 goal, I would be a lot farther ahead than I am now. So I knew I had something then. It took me a minute to kind of pick myself up because I took a couple months just to kind of sulk that it didn't fund. But once I was like, okay, I rationed it out and I figured, okay, I have something here. There was, I made this much. Now I'm gonna do a couple freelance jobs for my, I do web and graphic design. I'm gonna pay for the printing, finish the book, and then I'm gonna go to a Comic-Con and see
Right.
what happens. And that's exactly what I did. I went to my first Comic-Con, got a table in Artist Alley, filled my table with prints and posters and the single issue that I had, and I took 100 copies with me to this con, and I sold 96 of them. I
Right.
was actually panicking that I might run out.
No, I'm totally with you. I
Yeah.
understand exactly how that it was. My first book, it wasn't supposed to be my first book. It was supposed to be my second, but my first book got delayed, so that became my first. And I don't usually try to, mention my books while I got other guests on. But I went to that first convention with that book, and I didn't expect for it to be selling, I guess, because
Yeah, yeah. You don't know what. Yeah, exactly. You don't know what you have until you talk to people about it. They're interested and they start buying it. I mean, that's again that was what really sparked it. Like I said, I kind of knew I had something, and then when I was at this con, it was for sure I had something. And then it just was from there. My wife and I dipped into our savings to get issue 2 out. And then issue 3, I decided to come back to Kickstarter, and I set it at a $5,000 goal,
right,
because I learned from my mistake.
right.
And it overfunded. I think it was like almost 8,000. So
Wow.
I'm from there. That's all she wrote. I mean, every issue I've been coming back.
Now, like I say, I do want to talk a little bit more about, jumping those hurdles, but before I get back to that conversation, I want to talk about the multi jobs that you have to take on as a creator, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's not just writing the book, creating the idea. It's marketing
Oh
yourself.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's learning Kickstarter. I don't know what all layers you had to do, but I'm learning how to draw as well. And hosting a YouTube show, this has been
Yeah.
an adventure for me in
Oh, I'm
itself.
sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, how do you juggle everything?
So yeah, I do basically I do everything except for the illustration and the colors,
Right.
and the covers, obviously. So I do like I write. I'm the original ideas came from my head. I did the original character designs, gave them to Carlos. He made them better. It's doing the marketing. I do my website, all my social media. I also hire help for that as well, but I still run my main page and my personal page. So it's not like I stopped doing the social media stuff.
Right.
I just enhance it. Yeah. So, and then managing the projects, like I work very closely with the artists. I approve, or, we kind of tweak, based on my vision and theirs, and we try to make the best book possible. For Nightwolf, I'm also letterer. Snowpaw, I decided that because with Nightwolf, I wrote that like years ago, and so I tweak the dialogue as I'm lettering if I need to. Whereas like Snowpaw, I'm writing that on the fly. So, I hired Dave Lentz because he's already getting the best, writing that I'm putting out at that time. So there was no sense for me to take that time. So I saved time doing that. And really, so I've been trying to put out a book every quarter, or a project on Kickstarter every quarter. Last year I managed to do that. The previous years it was only like I had 2 per year. So last year was the first time that I was able to do 4. I'm trying to do that again this year. And so what I try to do is I try to rotate what I'm doing. Also, I kind of have to figure, okay, what's the most important piece at the moment that I can get my focus on, and what my time frame is. So I write down a list and on a sticky notes and just check them off as I go. Sometimes I have several of them just lying around being like, okay, this is this day, it depends. Like you have to focus on what's the main need of the time. Right now it's obviously we're in Kickstarter time. So my main focus is keeping up with the Kickstarter, promoting the Kickstarter. When the Kickstarter is over, I'll be switching gears to, I'm getting art for volume 2 for Nightwolf. That's going to be my next project. So I'm working with Carlos to get that going. I also have to switch gears there, and I have to write Snowpaw issue 4 to hand off to Mog. So it's what's the need at the time to get done within the time that I have.
So I get a few different guests, and whenever they come on, they're usually in one aspect or another. Like you said, at the moment you're in campaign mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to put you on the spot, and if you only had one title that you had to pick, would you consider yourself the writer, the creator of it all, the campaigner? I mean, just one title. Which is that one title that you want to be labeled as?
So do you mean like what I want to be well known for? Is that what you're saying?
Sure. I mean, because you're doing a great job with the campaigns and Kickstarter. Everybody sees it. But I mean, is it that you want to be the writer the most, or do you want to be that idea person, or the artist kind of thing, letterer?
Yeah, I think it's creator is usually what I prefer, because that kind of is an overarching. And since I am doing like 90% of the work,
right. Well, I get out there to like cons and stuff, and I don't know if you get this. I know a lot of other creators get this, especially if they're not the artist. They get a customer that'll come up, oh, you're just a writer.
Oh, hey. I'll give you what I tell them. This is exactly what I tell them. I'm like, yeah, I'm the writer, but I'm not just the writer. I'm the creator, writer, letterer, graphic designer, marketer, publisher. I do everything except for the illustrations and
project manager.
Yeah, I mean, I lay it all out on the table. I'm like, creating a comic book is not just art. Like there's a nuance to it, and there's a lot of hats, and I wear 90% of them.
Exactly. No, I definitely agree. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was learning to letter, and I was like, I'm not a letterer. I've tried to letter at least once or twice, and I don't want to, no offense. But as a project manager, owning your project, you got to study lettering and know what you're trying to get into. Mm-hmm. And that goes for every aspect of it. Now, I'm not an illustrator. but I am learning to draw, and learning panel flow and the way the panel lines go, kind of thing, is an interesting stuff because I didn't know that at the beginning of the journey.
Hmm.
What has been the biggest knowledge that you've gained in the past 30 days to 3 months?
Biggest knowledge from the last 30 days to the few months. So far a lot of it's been wash and repeat from things I've learned. New
Right.
stuff. Oh man, that's a tough one because I mean, once I kind of get it down into burying my head and working, it's all a lot of it. I think it's trying to figure out what I don't need to have my hands on and give to somebody else.
Right.
It's something that I've learned that I need to do, but it's hard to do.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Having to let go of an aspect, especially if you're comfortable doing that and you don't know if that other person is going to be doing it to your level and hopefully better than your level. But I
Right?
mean,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
definitely understand that.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I know a lot of interviewers ask, what you're going to advise new creators, but it's like you're in the trenches and you're gaining knowledge every day, and it's kind of curious as to what you're learning nowadays compared to the beginning of your journey. So, as far as campaigning, is there anything different out there, or is it just wash and repeat?
I think you have to keep in mind that times change and ways of promoting will change. Always try something new. I still need to do. I have a TikTok, but I haven't done much with it. That's something that I've been wanting to get into a little bit more. But again, making videos is a little more time consuming than just
Right.
making an image and throwing out a post. But yeah, trying new things, trying not to be stuck in the same patterns. Definitely is something that we all need to, because again, times are changed. Remember when Facebook went down a couple weeks ago? What did people do if they only had Facebook? Build an
Right.
email list and keep up with that. I mean, or try, get something like similar to that, like like the people do like Patreon or whatever, like or what's that other popular one?
Do you do Patreon? Substack? Substack's one of
Substack,
the.
yeah, Substack's the one I was, yeah. I have not yet. I've actually been. I think my thing is that I don't get enough content regularly to really do it, but I'm looking at others in my similar space and seeing how they're doing it, and maybe like kind of I might dip my toes in and see how that goes. But Substack, I was thinking about also doing as well, because I already have an email list, and I thought, okay, well, if I take my email list, the people who are all regulars and opening my emails, move them over to Substack, and just use my like Mailchimp as my like basically my my marketing funnel and getting new people in, and then
Right.
I'll put them in the Substack as they go. So that's kind of like, you always got to think about how you're you're funneling in new readers, as well as keeping the current ones up to date on everything and regularly talking to them, because you don't want to be that friend who just comes when you need something.
Right. Right, man. And that's one of those things that it's hard to do because I know a lot of people are, I don't want to say self-centered or so, but it's one of those things that you, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And
Mhm.
it is hard to like stay focused and help others while you're not in the middle of things.
Right, that's just it too. It's like, we have so many hats that we wear, and we're doing so much. It is hard to like get your head out of that and like to do the people piece,
Right.
because we have so much time that we're trying to get the product out, but you do have to kind of like, again, it kind of comes in for me. I do it in like rotation. So like I'll, let's think of it as like a circle. I'm doing one thing one day, next, kind of like rotating it and going full circle. So like I'm multitasking, as I'm working on different things, which I think my ADD helps me with that.
Yours and mine both. So now I don't want to put you on the spot, but this is a question that I do like to ask people. I had a friend once who had signed on with a big publisher, and the publisher came to them and said, we're ready to help you get to the next level any way that you want us to. And the creator was like, I don't know how. He didn't know how he could get to that next level. Do you know how you could get to your next level?
I think mostly it's at this point distribution is my next challenge. I obviously do very well with the self-promoting, the self-publishing, getting my books out there. It's the going out and putting my books into retailers. I can do that. Like people have done my retailer tiers on my Kickstarter, but that's very few retailers trust that, right?
Right.
So for me, it's also like getting into Diamond. Should I get into Diamond? Should I look at one of the other distributors? You know what I mean? That's kind of like something that I'm like I don't have the time to figure all that out. But if like somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, we're going to help you with distribution," depending on the deal, that's kind of like where I might consider. But yeah, that would be for me. Getting my books to a wider audience is my next level.
Now you've got several books. Have you submitted to publishers?
No.
No.
I haven't needed to.
Well, I mean, yeah, you definitely don't need to, but I think a lot of publishers would definitely take that into consideration.
I mean, if it was the right deal, I would consider it. Right now I'm not actively looking, especially seeing with the mess that's been going on with some of the smaller indie publishers lately. I'm kind of like, I'm going to go over here and do my thing.
But I'm not shy to say that I want to get into with the publisher, and I don't expect, I've always had the stance that I don't expect a dime once I get into a publisher. I want the exposure.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, that's the big part of it. I mean, it's like I said, that's the distribution, putting it out in bigger audience. Like I said, I'm more than open to discussing, but like again, it has to be dependent on whatever deal they're offering.
Right. No, I definitely agree. So, Snowpaw,
mm-hmm.
Snowpaw 3, is that correct?
Yes.
This is a trade of all three?
No, this is a new issue.
Okay.
Yeah. The trade for Snowpaw will come out after issue 4 comes out. So it's usually do 4 issue trades collected. So that'll probably be roughly next year, I'd imagine.
Awesome. I don't know. And again, my kid is the one that usually brings this stuff up, so I'm gonna try to see if I can pull it up. It's probably gonna take me a second. What is new about this one?
So again, this one's it for issue 3. We have several variant covers for issue 3. Again, you can pick up the past issues as well, and their variant covers are also available. We have a lot of new apparel. We have new traditional art by Mog Park and Chris Williams, original cover art, and just basically a lot of the similar stuff that we've had in past campaigns, but new stuff. We have our mystery boxes that we had, and instead of having them as a tier, we now have them at a discount in the add-on section. We have new metal covers, and we're working towards our second stretch goal, which will hopefully within the next few days unlock. We have a lot of new, we have stickers, cards, trading cards, new ones that have unlocked. Currently we have a freebie for the full moon. So if everybody who backs before next Monday, the 25th, the night of the full moon, will get a free print by Daphne Lage, featuring Snowpaw and Silvermane. So yeah, we got a lot of great stuff, a lot of great catch-up tiers, a lot of good stuff for the returning pack members, and very affordable. Shipping's included for the U.S. and then discounted for international backers.
I'm trying to figure this out. I'm telling you, my son is the one that really does this stuff.
If you hit present and share screen, then you find the screen that you want to share.
Is it under the Windows or is it the Microsoft Edge tab?
That depends on where you have the browser open with the
Yeah, see, that's the one I'm trying to figure out. Where is it? It won't let me share this one.
Do you want me to present?
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me get to the page. That would help, obviously. All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, this is Snowpaw. Do you want me to play the video, or do you just want me to talk about it?
Let's play it.
All right. In 19th century Scotland, a fierce heroine with an adventurous spirit nearly gives in to the social expectations of her time. But a trite fairy tale ending is not meant to be as Cyrilla McKinley discovers her werewolf lineage. Her eyes are opened for the first time to the existence of supernatural beings and creatures of fantasy. Hi, I'm Robert A. Multari, the creator and writer of Snowpaw, and the hit series Nightwolf, as well as the founder of Lone Wolf Comics. While writing the Snowpaw series, I wanted to tell a story about a strong female character who my daughter and other girls reading comic books can look up to as a great role model. In April of 2016, I launched a failed Kickstarter campaign for my first series, Nightwolf. I didn't let that failed launch stop me, so I decided to raise the money on my own doing freelance web design jobs to pay for the artists. After self-publishing Nightwolf issues 1 and 2, I came back to Kickstarter in 2019. Since then, I have successfully overfunded 11 campaigns for Nightwolf issues 3 through 8, the Volume 1 trade paperback, 2 issues of Snowpaw, a Nightwolf Voodoo Doll plush toy, and the Wolfpack Pups Halloween board book. And that's all thanks to my amazing backers that I refer to as my Wolfpack. Now I stand ready to publish Snowpaw issue 3, and that's why I've come back to pay for the printing and the rewards that you will receive for backing this project. I'd like to personally thank you in advance for backing Snowpaw and joining the Wolfpack. I'm extremely grateful for where I am now as a self-publisher and continuing to serialize new comic books for you to enjoy. Again, thank you for taking this creative journey with me. I appreciate it so much. Aye, so what are you waiting for? Take this journey back with me to 19th century Scotland and join the Wolfpack today.
I love the transition of the accent there. That's great.
Yeah, I've always had fun with doing voices. I actually considered one time when I was in college as an animation student doing voiceovers for projects at school. I thought about recording myself and submitting for voice acting, but never did it.
So you got 7 days left to go.
Yep.
You've already hit your goal. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep. We're hitting stretch goals. The first one's unlocked. We're very close to the second one. We also do milestones. Let me go down to that. Oh, this is the full moon print from Daphne Lage that I was mentioning earlier.
Right.
So everybody who gets backs the campaign by Monday will get this print either digitally or physically, depending on your tier. The milestones. So basically, so this was the percent milestones, unlocking digital copies of books from fellow creators of mine. At 200 backers, we got a die cut sticker of Snowpaw. 400 backers, we got the trading card, and then 600 will be another thing, and 800 will be another thing if we get there, which would be nice, but we'll see. And then we have stretch goals. As I mentioned, we got the new metal covers, and the next one unlocks very soon. And as I mentioned, we got the Wolfpack members coming back and, sharing their pictures of, from cons or from at their homes receiving the books. But yeah, so reward wise, you can catch up digitally right here, or if you're returning, you can just get the single. Again, the Mog Park cover, you can get both physically and digitally if you prefer physical. Same with the Jaden Lanning cover, Vesinia Lindsay. And you can get a catch-up of all the Mog Park covers here. Carlos Herrera, who is the Nightwolf artist, his cover. Chris Williams, who is one of my regular cover artists. That's his cover. This is the entire Lone Wolf Comics series of books. So you can get Snowpaw 1 through 3, Nightwolf Volume 1, and issues 5 through 8. And then the Joseph Schmolke cover featuring Grimfang. And then we have where you can get the variant cover tier. So this is issues 1 through 3 with different variant covers, limited variant covers, more catch-up tiers depending on your choice. These are all the Carlos Herrera covers you can get caught up with. These are the rare, very limited books. That, 2 Chris Williams and a Corolla Borelli in the middle there. And then this is, we were talking about retailers. Any retailers want to jump in and get 10 issues each of the first 3 issues, they can do that. We also have the very exclusive books that have a very, very limited print run. The Ludovic Sully and Rio Burton and Joseph Schmolke cover. Or you can get yourself a full standard experience of Snowpaw. You can get issues 1 through 3, the volume 1 of Nightwolf, and 5 through 8 in physical form in your mailbox. If you are a avid collector and you have been getting all of the variants as we've been going along, this is a tier for you. You get all of the issue 3 variants, including the sketch cover and the digital. Here's another retailer. If you are new to Lone Wolf Comics and you want to fill your shop with everything we have, you can pick up issues 1 through 3 of Snowpaw and 1 through 8 of Nightwolf. Here's the deluxe experience. So basically, it's you get all of the Carlos Herrera covers, the die cut cover for the volume 3, and then a lot of the exclusive covers of Nightwolf 5 through 8 that include Snowpaw on the cover. And then for those of you who like swag and like collecting, we got the zip up hoodie, the baseball hat, the mask, the pin, a Lego figure featuring Silvermane.
That's awesome.
A t-shirt. And then as we get going, then you can get all of the variants of issues 1 through 3 included in that. And then we also have, you can get yourself all of the Nightwolf books as well, and the and a guaranteed 9.8 signed by me and Mog of issue 1.
Wow.
And then at 1,000, you can get yourself drawn in as a supporting character. So that means you could actually have yourself part of a long-going storyline. It's not just an appearance. One time you were actually, so this gentleman actually plays a part in both Nightwolf and Snowpaw. So that could be you as well.
That's awesome.
As well as all the lovely covers. And then we have that the 1,500 tier. We have you can get the original painting by Mog Park of issue 3, and $1,000 will go straight to Mog. So that's right off the top. She gets that. So I'm only getting, minus the fees, for and all that, and her 1,000. So that's for her. You can get that directly from her, and she will mail it to you. And I'm pretty sure she signs her artwork when she mails it out.
Right.
And then you get all of the variants and all the swag here. And then the issue 2 original painting. Again, I think so. She's selling it for $1,250. That's what she'll be getting out of this.
Right.
I still only get less than 500 and whatever the fees and all that.
Right.
So this is get Mog paid.
Right. Man, that's tons of great items to choose from.
Mm-hmm. And then I
love sketch covers. I love them. So I mean that's a great thing to always have on.
Oh yeah. So we have our add-ons, so you can get 1 through 3 in the sketch cover. We have issues 6 and 7 of Nightwolf. You can get yourself there's only 5. I believe one of them has already been taken or more. I'm not sure offhand. But yeah, so you can get the Mog Park sketch cover commission. Then we have all of our minifigures who are available now. You can grab one or all. These 2 are the very limited because they were the first ones, and there's very limited of them left. And we have the trade paperbacks, as mentioned before. You have the soft cover, the Virgin variant, and then the hardcover with a die-cut claw. And we have all of our metal covers for Nightwolf 1 through 8. And then we have, as well, we have the metal covers of Snowpaw, and then the editions of Snowpaw 3 and all their metal covers as well. We have the pins. We have hats you can buy individually, the face mask, the Raglan t-shirt. People call it a baseball shirt, but
right.
Yeah. And then the zip up hoodie and the regular t-shirt. We also have, if you missed our Wolfpack pups for the kids, you can get those digitally. There's a digital coloring book as well, and there's the physical book, and then the Nightwolf Voodoo Doll plush toy, which actually was inspiration for the book, and tells the story of how this little guy came to be.
That's awesome.
And then if you are if you're starting out, or even if you're a Kickstarter veteran who's looking for some help, and some advice, this creator Kickstarter consultant is basically, it's 2-hour sessions. We go through your campaign and what I think you can do to help improve the page, and then we go back and see, the second time, then we're talking strategy, how to, try to build the audience and all that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you. And then the mystery boxes, as I mentioned earlier, I got a discount. And then the original art, we have one of the original pages from Snowpaw issue 1, featuring the first appearance of Grimfang and Silvermane and Akilio. And then we have the new traditional art by Mog Park. This one, I believe, is sold. This one is still available. And then we have the original pencils from Chris Williams' cover as well. And then we have the team. So that's obviously me.
That's a loaded campaign right there.
Yes, sir.
Tons of great stuff.
Yeah, so we talked about Mog. I definitely want to give a shout out to the rest of the team. Bruno Costa is our colorist. Dave Lentz is our letterer. Carlos, again, he's done all he works for me doing Nightwolf, as well as all my character designs and cover. He does a lot of cover art for me. Katrina Rotes, she's the editor. Jaden Lanning, she has done a few covers for me now. Vesinia Lindsay, this is her first cover. I loved it. It came out great. Chris Williams is another regular cover artist for me. Joseph Schmolke has done 2 for me. This one is the latest. And then we have Mel, who is the creative director who works. He's Mog's husband, who helps kind of her, when she's working.
Right.
And then we have our past, cover artists.
Right.
And then we also have crossover exclusives going. So this is Travis Gibbs, Queen of Judas. Through Band of Bards. So we're doing a crossover if you back that campaign as well as mine. You'll get that print either digitally or physically. And then also Jessica Judd Mason, depending on which name she goes by, she kind of goes by 2 different names, but through Facebook, it's both. We're doing. She does the Mary Shelley School for Monsters Origins. If you back both that and Snowpaw, you get this die cut sticker.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that is the campaign, and that's in a gist.
Man, your campaign is loaded full of stuff. Great stuff, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of campaigns that have, that much add-ons and original art. And this is one of the things I try to tell new creators is it's not just the book that you got to be selling. You got to be selling the experience. And if it's just a book, people will go to an LCS to just buy a book.
But this has to be an experience. And I learned, to being a web and graphic designer, I've worked in marketing departments since, I've been, working in my field. And, I learned one main thing that I learned is that you want to get your brand out there, slap your logo on everything, hats, t-shirts, whatever, brand recognition. stickers, everything you can, and that was, part of like why I do all the extra stuff like that. And also, it's cool stuff to have,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I think one of the things that's hurt me the most is I've got so many different titles as opposed to just one. But I mean, all the stuff that you have on there, like I said, you have the figurines, you have the experience, you have the original art. That's a great thing to see on a campaign. And I've seen your campaigns before. Obviously, they look great. I mean,
Thank you.
compared to half of the other Kickstarters, if you're watching this and you're running a Kickstarter, go look at this Kickstarter. I mean, contribute, but also take notes, man, because that's one of the better Kickstarters I've ever seen.
Thank you.
It really is. Yeah. So okay. So let's talk about cons. Do you do cons? Have you
I do. I try to do as many as I can. So I can only do like one a month, depending on the month. So like I think the most I've done in a year has been 6. So like between like 4 and 6 is usually like where I aim for. I have 3 officially booked now. I'm aiming at 2 more to try and fill my plate. I just haven't gotten around to do it yet because campaign mode.
Right. No, I understand.
Yeah.
And so, where's your next biggest one?
My next one is in Cleveland at the Fan Expo there.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's in April. And then I believe the next one after that is the end of June, Nickel City Comic Con in Buffalo, New York. And then after that, I'm trying to get into Terrific Con in August and Baltimore Comic Con in September. And I have one already booked in November at in the Akron Comic Con, which is Akron, Ohio.
Awesome. So, I mean, that's great that you're getting out there. Do you do signings at local comic stores and stuff like that as well?
I do, yeah. Usually on Free Comic Book Day, I go down to my local one in Sharon, PA, Benny's Comic Shop. So I'll be down there signing books.
May 4th.
Yep. So I'll be there. Yeah. And then I if I get invited, I'll come out and do some. I did one a couple months ago at a new comic store that opened up, in Dawson's Creek Comics, or actually it's Dawson's Geek, playing off because his last name is Dawson, and playing off the Dawson's Creek.
Right. Man, I wish you were in this area. I'd get you, signed up with some of these LCSs, but sooner or later, hopefully we'll run into each other.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to do as many cons as I can. I think I've been booked up for the past month and a half, and I think I got 3 weekends ahead of me that I'm looking forward to.
Oh, nice.
It's always great to hear that a creator's going out there to the cons and to the LCSs. I know some creators are just Kickstarter alone and whatnot, which it's okay, whichever avenue that suits you the best. Mm-hmm. But I love it whenever I hear people are going out there to the cons.
Oh yeah, I mean, for me, like technically, like after the failed Kickstarter, the con was the start of my go, and I was hitting up the con scene and well before I had a successful Kickstarter. So
right.
Honestly, I love doing it. I love traveling. I love meeting the people. I love, converting new Wolfpack members.
Yeah, man. I mean, I haven't had a big Kickstarter. I've had 5 Kickstarters and they've all been successful, but they were all small because I was new. So my saving grace were cons mm-hmm. and LCSs. They've been, amazing to me. And I can't, preach enough about cons and the LCSs. And if you're good to them, they'll be good to you. And
yeah.
And of course, like I say, I'm coming back to Kickstarter because I still want to be in that space as well.
But yeah, I mean, that's it. People don't just shop in one place, right? So right. You figure you have the people who, they go to their comic shops regularly. That's where they shop. Right. People go to Comic Cons. If they see you there, they'll look for you the next time and get your books in. And then Kickstarter is the same kind of thing. Once you have an established Kickstarter audience, they'll come back every time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is like I say, if you're not comfortable with cons, if you're not comfortable, face to face, you do have Kickstarter.
Mhm.
But if you do go out there and engage these customers and these LCSs, man, it's a great thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, your campaign looks great, man. It's always great talking to you. I think it's a good time to wrap this up. Where can they meet, or where can they get a hold of you if anyone needs you?
Yeah. So you can see in right this right here. Um, so you can find me Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Lone Wolf Comics. You can find me personally at Rob Multari, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can go to lonewolfcomics.com to learn more about my brand and my other titles. If you want to go to the Kickstarter, that link below, lonewolfcomics.com/snowpaw, that is the easy to remember, easy to type link that'll take you to the Kickstarter.
Awesome. Now, I appreciate you being on. I always enjoy talking to you. Give me 1 second. My name is Paul Gomez, and this is Unchained. If you ever need help with any comic information, if I don't have it, I can definitely point you in the right way. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under Paul Gomez 790. And also, if you're having a bad day and just need somebody to talk to, I am almost always on Facebook, Paul Gomez 790. It's okay not to be okay. Just don't live there. And on behalf of my co-host, who you can't see, the hardest working kid in comics on eBay, have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Rob, stick around. I'll be with you in just a
Sounds good. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you. I got an exit here somewhere.